All right, check, check, check. So let's start over here. All right, so this is the general setup that we are going to be doing. So I've got just a normal dynamic microphone and a Nikon 5600.
Sarah.
Zara, you're going to have to be a little bit more quiet, please, because you're really starting to come through here. Hey, come here. And then we've got a Zoom that's handling all of the audio, and then the secondary angle. Okay, so I guess we were going to try and figure out and just do a practice run of an interview of what exactly you're trying to create, what you're calling it, kind of the general framework that you're doing.
Well, again, it's a project called the Synergy Project, and it's at the Sustainable Future Center. And this is sort of the culmination of decades of work in software. And the goal is to allow people to use software that's integrated as opposed to fragmented. So right now you might use a half a dozen different tools to get your job done, and they don't integrate with each other very well. And so what Synergy is all about is bringing all the data into one place so that different applications can work on it. And so Synergy is a framework where you can develop, I envision ultimately many different people working on the Synergy software and creating applications for it. So it's really an applications framework that people can generate things with.
Okay. So how is this going to be legally? Are you looking to do a nonprofit, or I mean, are you even looking to have a legal structure?
Well, this will be open source, and so the idea with open source is that you make the source code available, and then people are free to use that software to develop other software. So I'll be using it internally to help our nonprofit, Sustainable Future Center, but that as we develop new stuff, other people can look at it, can modify it, can use it in their nonprofits or for profits, either one.
Okay, that sounds pretty exciting. Yeah, that's the only problem with recording right in the middle of everything. We have little distractions. So I'm trying to. Yeah, having a sheet would have been very helpful. Okay, so if we drill down and think about like a very specific problem you're trying to solve, like
Well, privacy is one thing that's very important to me, and so like right now I'm using things that aren't private, things like Google Docs, and a while back I was using Google Docs when I had a business, and we lost a lot of data and we could not get it back. So one of the big things that I'm personally interested in is having everything I touch digitally, I own, it's under my servers, and I control. And so that's one aspect. The other aspect is communication between people. Right now, our existing emails and phone numbers they're problematic. I get certainly hundreds of emails a day that I have no interest in. And right now, email and communication is external to me. It's a third party, and I have to worry about their spam filters and stuff. And so part of the software is to create a thing called a trust network. So if you're in the trust network and we trust each other, then we can communicate. But the second trust is lost on either side, communication can be stopped by either party. It has to be mutually agreed upon. So to me, that's a big deal in making things more efficient and more satisfying, right? Because I mean, I hate going through all this email that's irrelevant to me.
yeah. So have you built anything that can do that yet, or what's kind of the first project you're tackling?
We've been using this system internally at the Sustainable Future Center now for about 5 years. and what's working. Like our website is built with this system. So if you go to sfcknox.org, you can see an example of it. We're now building another application called Synergy, which is will be the general thing that everybody can just use by themselves. It'll have a database in it, so you can create databases and store information, contact management, accounting. So like we're currently doing our accounting system with Synergy. We have a Synergy application, or accounting application done in Synergy.
Okay. So, and how many people are using that currently?
Well, currently we're just using it in-house, and so like we generate all our invoices with it and keep track of our books with it, but we're the only ones using it. And that's part of the problem right now, is that it's been a great internal system, but we're at the point now where we need to start letting other people use it and get feedback and make it a little nicer to use, a little more polished.
Okay. So how long would you say it's that particular product is ready before, like, who can use it now? Who would you feel comfortable letting access or?
So the
or
first
test it?
the first phase of this will be me giving personal demos to people and getting feedback from people that I know and trust. And based on that feedback, it'll give me a sense of how much we have to do before we can do a general release. So the goal this month in January is to have a few one-on-one sessions to get feedback from people.
Okay. Great. Let's see here. So we covered kind of the privacy. So that was one, and then we had the one. What are some other applications besides just the accounting?
Again, it's an open system, so you can develop any application. So let me talk a little bit about the architecture of it. So everything you use today is cloud-based, right? You use your Google Docs or Facebook or social media, and it's all what's called client-server, where the server sitting off on the cloud somewhere that you have no control over. Your data is going there, and you have no control where it goes to. So that's client-server. You can do that with Synergy. You can do a client-server-based architecture. You can also do what's called a local server, and that's how I run it. Like all the stuff that I use, the accounting and whatnot, I have a server on my local machine, so I control that totally. You can also set up what are called clusters, and so that's what I'm in the process of setting up now. So I'll have my own personal cluster server, if you will, that's on a VPN. So all the computers that I want to talk to my server, I'll set up on the VPN, and nobody else can see it. You can also have what's called a rendezvous server. So let's say that you and I have each our own little cluster servers, but we want to communicate. Well, we can set up a rendezvous server and communicate through that, or we can set up a trust network between our two clusters, and they can talk directly to each other. So just there's a tremendous amount of flexibility on how you set it up, whether it's in client server or a group server, or a personal cluster.
So what are kind of the benefits of doing that? Like how much control, and I guess how easy is that? Is that?
Well, that's the problem right now, is that it's very technical. There aren't very many. That's part of the beta process, is to make it a lot easier to set up than it is now.
Okay. Cool. Okay. I don't know. I'm trying to. Oh.
So I don't know how to say this, but like almost every application you use, whether again it's accounting or CRM or social media, they all have their own paradigm how they look at the world. And with Synergy, we're using a very small number of paradigms and ways of doing things. So if you learn one application, because it shares so much information, it's very easy to pick up another application that was written in Synergy. And so a big motivation for this is to make it easier to do things. So you're not having to constantly switch gears and switch paradigms and switch systems. And so
It makes things much more consistent.
it's just much more consistent. It's like you learn a few basic things, and it applies to every application that gets written in Synergy. So the hope is that it'll be much, much more energy being used solving problems rather than fighting the program that you happen to be using to get something done.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense, and especially with the consistency, and if you have two opposing paradigms like privacy and corporate data mining, or however you say it.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Like I use ChatGPT quite a bit, and it knows a lot about me, and that bothers me. So I'd like to have a local AI that I can use and have all my data in. So that's that's one. Again, you don't have to use Synergy that way. You can create client server stuff and mine data, but that's not what I want to do with it.
Yeah.
But again, it's open source, so you can do whatever you want to with it.
So where could somebody find you, or what would be the best way to reach out to you or contact you, and who are those people?
Well, right now it's not happening that way. I'm reaching out to people I know and trust. Once we get when we do a public launch, then you'd go to synergy.sfcnox.org, and that will be where we will launch the program from.
Okay. And rough time frame. When are you hoping that will happen?
I really don't know. So I'm thinking probably at least 2 to 3 months of personal beta where I'm physically reaching out to people I know and trust and getting their feedback. And after 2 or 3 months of that, I'll have a much better sense of what my to-do list is before we do a public release.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Well, we are almost at the 15-minute mark, so we'll go ahead and wrap that up.
Okay.